Hey, it's Reese here, co-founder of meetingpair.com. And in today's video, we've got a case study review for an awesome account that is currently working with us here at MeetingPair. His name is Chris Jones, and he runs a company called Adaptive DC. Now, what's really cool about this is on week one, this campaign is absolutely killing it, meaning that he's getting his samples inside of a bunch of different companies' builds. He's actually talking to architects, which of course is different than digital agencies. So obviously, if you're here, you're watching this video, you'll probably sell a digital service or advertising. So different from what he's doing, but also similar in the sales process. So Chris talks about this a little bit in the episode, but they are used to selling very word of mouth, some social media on Pinterest, because designers, they go on there and they're looking for products that they can build with. He'll explain all that on the episode. But what I want you to think about is the success of this campaign ultimately comes down to the way that we've structured the outreach to be more about what he can offer and letting them come back to them with a solution versus just constantly saying, hey, we want to meet, we want to meet, we want to meet. That only goes so far. And as you know, here at MeetingPair, we're all about the evolved outbound approach. So say you get an email from the prospect's perspective, you check your inbox, you see something very interesting, and then maybe at the bottom, instead of saying, hey, let's get a meeting, maybe it's, hey, I would love to open up the conversation with you. By the way, here's a little bit more information about how we might be able to help you. Would love to provide more before our call. And so that kind of restructuring has been absolutely massive. At the time of doing this current video, Chris has got about 33 responses. Out of those, about 23 are really, really good. And then we're even refining down further and further, which is also what we do here at MeetingPair, so that you're not just absolutely flooded with responses. We're also going to pare those down, MeetingPair, right, to just the perfect prospects that you need to be talking to. So maybe at the end of the month, he only ends up with 12, 13 calls, but out of that, he should have almost an incredible amount of deal flow. And so we're really, really excited to see where this shapes up. Enjoy this episode with Chris Jones.
So MyWall is a product that Adaptive DC sells. The system is sold both to commercial clients and residential. You can see the system behind me. It's basically a high-end pegboard system that from the front just looks like a regular pegboard, but it's how the system is built and how deep it is. So behind each pinhole there, it's basically goes in almost 2.5 inches deep into it. And the pins are either locking or non-locking. So you can lock it into place. And compared to other peg systems, well, this is patented, but it's very unique. And it's also made out of solid wood, so it's a renewable resource. Same with our aluminum pins are also recycled aluminum. So we even do our packing with no foam; it's all paper or cardboard. So we're always, trying to be a good company.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's MyWall. Great success, but even better success now. Now that we're working with MeetingPair. And it happened very quickly. We've tried many things over the last 2 years, whether it was trying to add money into different types of social media, whether it was on Pinterest, which is really big for us actually, which was a great surprise. But since we're in the design and designers go to Pinterest, but we've tried, paid campaigns. We've tried different paid email campaigns with literally zero coming back from that. And my goal is always, all I need is to be able to get in front of someone to talk about the product. And I'm 100% right now. If I can get in front of an architect or a designer, the product sells. So the whole goal with meeting Reese and Cody at MeetingPair was, they were saying, hey, our goal is going to be just to get you that face-to-face and take a ton of the legwork out of where I would usually have to go in. So we started this a week ago, and then in 1 week, I have 2 really good architecture firms that have large, meetings done that are set up right now within the system with multiple people in each of those meetings. And I've sent out, as of yesterday, 4 product samples that go out to different architects. And so for me, that's 6 in the last week, which is amazing compared to crickets from doing other things. Previously I'm having to, pointedly reach out to someone, get a name and call, or it's word of mouth. People are finding us. Like ESPN found us from somebody, DraftKings, or Pinterest, like Apple headquarters found us off Pinterest. But I want to reach everyone. So with what you guys
Yeah.
are doing for us, I'm excited, and we plan on doing more.
Love
So
it. Yeah,
yeah,
and it's a brilliant product, but it's and why I wanted to kind of showcase this too is because the way your sales funnel has worked in the past is so similar to creative agencies, even similar to the work that you do with high end living spaces as well.
yeah,
It's almost referral based. And so that's kind of where you were before, is saying, okay, stuff comes our way, but what I feel like we've been able to do in the first little while here is also say, okay, how could we strategically get this in front of the right people who are going to be able to incorporate it into their next builds? And it sounds like there's already a few literally
yeah.
within the first week that
Then a
they're
first
saying,
week,
we want to
good.
write it up.
And the next one will be, what can we do for adaptive? So with adaptive, my focus is high-end custom interiors for kids spaces, whether it's residential or commercial, but it's a really focused audience compared to my wall is very broad, because you can use my wall for anything, any company, any age person, there's always a way to use the product. With doing the custom kid spaces, it's a really narrow market, because most of the projects are 100,000 plus to do a project with us, right? So
Mm,
we'll do, currently maybe 2 or 3 of those a year, because they get pretty big. We're working on one down in Florida right now, in West Palm Beach, and we have another one that's going to be starting up in Dubai later this year. We've already done one there previously, but it's how can we hit that audience is the next one. But since we've already seen success with contacts on, doing my wall, that'll be the next thing we have to talk about, is
yeah.
who would that audience be?
That's right. No, that's a whole nother thing too. And then
Yeah,
you kind of
it's
look at different angles and how are we kind of going to shape this. But one thing I wanted to ask you too, Chris, is I feel like in this industry, if you're on your email, you're getting emails from people like Meeting Pair reaching out saying, hey, we want to help you with marketing or business development. I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, even I get them all the time.
I
So yeah.
I'm always flushing the toilet daily on, people saying, "Oh, we've seen your website. We want to help you. We'd like to set up and they always come right at it with we have time tomorrow for a meeting. We're gonna, I forget how they word it, but it's basically, lead generation, right? And they're saying either through email or calls. I forget how they word it, but I get that stuff daily, probably once or twice a day, and I always say, "See you later," and just delete it, or say, "Hey, take me off your list." But because and you used your, I don't know if you came at me this intentionally this way, but I think you came to me, I think, on LinkedIn, and if I remember right, I might be wrong, but it was the you tailored it, right to me, as though you knew the product, you were interested in my product, and you just wanted to talk, right? It wasn't super salesy, like in my face of, let's set up a time. We could help you with your lead generation, or we can get you new clients. It was nothing like that.
And so, yeah, that approach, I think, is, I mean, as you've seen from the copy we developed for my wall, it's sort of similar, right? We're just saying, this is what we offer, this is the design and how it can kind of work. And then kind of that piece that's been working really well too, and I'm talking about it on the podcast and other episodes, is I'd like to meet, but first I'd like to just share some information, and that's a huge piece of kind of
Oh,
just creating more of this evolved outbound experience, so
yeah.
that I think that's what's been a huge piece of success for my wall right here right away too. So no, that's fantastic. And so I guess once we got chatting, I guess one of the things is, so many clients of ours, they go, okay, well, we'll try this. And what do you expect for results? 3 months down the road, are we going to get a client,
Yeah.
something like that? What do you have to say to, I guess, because you probably thought that similarly, right? Like,
Oh, yeah,
let's
for
see
sure.
how it goes for a
I wanted
while.
to
And
see how it goes. I mean, we did it as a test, right? And it was going to be, let's see in 1 month, though, in a 30-day time period, what you could do for me, right? And honestly, if I just get one demo call with an architecture firm, I would have been happy. And then it was, and again, I haven't had the calls with them yet, but the fact that they're booking the calls with me, everybody's busy. So I have one booked for, I think it's 2 weeks from now, and then like 3 weeks from now with these architecture firms, which is fine. But I have bookings. But originally, I would have been happy with just one over a 30-day period, and here we are with multiple samples I'm having to send out, which is great because once they get the sample, they can see the quality of the product, and then they've
Mhm.
already said, "Hey, we like this. We want to put it." Basically, an architecture firm or design firm has like a creative area or an area where they keep lots of samples of products.
Yeah,
So art will go with that, and people will say, "Hey, what is that?" So
there
at
you
least
go.
in there somewhere. But what short story, is that I was happy within a week, and I've already said we want to look at this long term now.
Yeah, and we'll kind of see how that plays out as well. But one of the big things is just that when things go right, and it doesn't always go right, by the way, right
Oh,
away.
for sure.
That's why this is kind of unique. And I want to
No,
clarify that anytime you're doing marketing, even with Meeting Pair, it might not be the first week where you, because right now I was looking at your campaign, we have 29 responses. Out of those, I see 20 of them being very positive,
oh
meaning
yeah,
that at some point they could end up moving forward, which is a
great.
big
In a week,
pipeline.
in
Yeah,
a week is good.
yeah.
And I tell you where we like we'd have to go back 2 years, I think, but we originally started with somebody that I knew in the industry that's out in Arizona who did some targeted. I forget now if it was pay per click or if it was general email campaign. It's been too long now, but we were paying a good bit of money monthly for it without without anything specific coming back. And then when we looked at the monthly kind of where traffic was going and where it was coming from on our website, we saw that it was close to 90% of designers and architects were finding us off Pinterest, where
Mm.
we spent $0.
Yeah.
So we quickly had to say, okay, look, we need to stop spending money there, focus, maybe do some bumping on Pinterest and some bumping of, basically you can boost right on both the Facebook and on Instagram for the product. Um, but now I think and that was when the company was also smaller too. But as we've grown, now it's more of a overall look at how we're marketing. We have
Mhm.
somebody doing our social media. Is in turn they're doing both posts up on Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook. Um, and we were talking with a new writer yesterday that's going to go back over our overall site to put kind of just wordsmith it to get everything really dialed in. Um,
Yes.
and then that in turn will help you. I
Exactly. That's
so
exactly what I was gonna say, because this is a very interesting stat, about this campaign is we're actually only at a 49% open rate, meaning when we send an email to somebody, only half the time are they viewing it. But to that same coin, 20% of those people are clicking on your website, meaning that they're actually coming back. And this is again what we kind of talk about being creating that evolved outbound experiences. We're
yeah,
not just sending a spammy email and whatever they kind of just can say yes or no or delete. What it is it's inviting them into looking deeper at what you offer. So maybe social media isn't the highest ROI right now or those kind of things. But when we do, direct marketing, then they kind of
yeah,
get spun into that wheel and say, well, are they active on Instagram? What are they doing with their LinkedIn? What can I learn about them on their website so I don't have to get on a call with these people until
yes,
I know more about it. And so that's just the tip of the iceberg is sending a really, really great email that then just invokes that interest. And I feel like that's kind of what's happening here because there's actually room to
good,
grow on this.
yes. And
Yeah.
the email what you guys crafted, it's so personal. It doesn't come across as a piece of junk email from some salesperson, right? It's more conversational and it's very loose and it's not threatening at all with, hey, you need to buy, whatever. How I don't know how other people do it, but it's it's inviting. It's uh not I'm gonna delete this.
Oh, 100%. No, I hear you. And that's kind of our whole approach is genuine and meaningful. Those are the two
Yeah,
big things that's sales, man. At its core
yeah,
is how do you become a human being and get in their shoes and try to help them understand how we can help and problem solve.
exactly.
So That's fantastic. So one of the things that we take a lot of pride in too is that the copy, as you'd already mentioned, but you wrote one of the best emails I've ever gotten back from a client when you said, "This is amazing." And it's funny because we hadn't even launched it yet, but you were already kind of singing our praises. But what were your thoughts on just the research and some of the things that we put into that copy that you liked?
Yeah, so with what I got back, I mean, everybody's busy, right? So the fact that you made a video that kind of went over your thought process of who a generic client would be that you're going to be sending it to, and then you read basically the email that was going to go out, and you walked through the process of how this is going to work. That was fantastic for me. And then you gave me directions on how to set up Calendly, right? On how to set up my page. And on the tech side, I'm terrible. Like I can use design programs. When it comes to anything after that, I'm always too busy and in the weeds to try to focus on learning a new system. But you literally just walked me through in a video, do this, then do this. And I just did it and followed you. And it was extremely easy. And I think you made the comment yesterday, oh man, it looks really good. But it looks good because I followed your direction. So
Rare though. It's rare.
it's a pairing of to make it work so well. But like I'm very impressed. Makes it easy and it's good quality.
Love it. Love it. Well, Chris, I think we're gonna have to touch base again down the road and get you on because I'm gonna
Yeah.
probably turn this into a podcast and kind of tell some of our people, in the agency space how this is working out. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, for now, I'm just excited to see where this is going.
It-
So
You'll have to look up on. So I was on a CBS show last week. CBS Eye on Veterans.
okay.
It's a big pod. They like 200,000 followers or something. And if you look up the host name is Phil Briggs, that he does it, and half of the episode talks about adaptive in my wall, and the other half talks about a hobby thing that I do with my son, where we do shirts for military units, and so that was kind of the lead to get him. But I was able to use it as a platform to talk about my wall and about adaptive in the custom rooms. But I don't know if there's ever a way that you could also leverage that to say, hey, this, your client is also doing this or something. I don't know, but I just want to let you know
That you're on Ion Veterans by
Yeah.
CBS Audio
Yeah.
Experience. Yeah, this is fantastic. And so yours will be coming out soon.
Yeah, that actually went out last week. So it's a syndicated radio show across the country. And so I don't know when each of the syndicates will play it, right? So it went up online last week, but I don't know when each of the stations, they have hundreds of stations across the country. So I don't know when they stick it in. It's like a weekly show or something that the different stations do.
I think that's amazing. And anytime you have video content, especially audio content, is so big right now because you can just
Yeah.
plug it in and go. It's so easy to follow up, via email with somebody that's in the funnel and say, "Hey, by the way, got the privilege to get on this podcast." And then it's all about just growing those relationships deeper. And so, yeah, once that goes live, Chris, you'll have to send me that link and
Yeah, for
we can
sure.
maybe incorporate that into the future of some of these things.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, thanks
right.
so much, Chris. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Thanks.
Bye.